Hey everybody, welcome to my NED Talk. I'm Steve of the Tetrady, and I'm here today to tell you about the root cause of the Israel-Palestine conflict. There's too much violence going on right now, and there's some ancient roots that I think I can help shed some light on. The real problem is that Israel wants the promised land, which they say that my buddy God gave to them. But why, you might ask, does Israel even need a promised land? What happened to the land they came from? Well, really, if you want to blame someone, we can put all the blame on Moses. It was that guy Moses who decided to take the Israelites out of Egypt to the promised land. He claimed that God told him to go to the promised land, and that led to the Israelites wandering all over the desert for a long time until they came to Canaan. But now, what were the Israelites even doing in Egypt? That wasn't Moses' fault. In fact, that was because of Joseph. It was Joseph, who was a governor of Egypt, who brought his family to live there. And after the Pharaoh died, the new Pharaoh enslaved all the Israelites because he hadn't heard of Joseph. But what did Joseph really have to do about this? Actually, it was his brothers who were jealous of Joseph. They threw him in a pit. They sold him into slavery to the Egyptians because they were jealous of him. And so really, the blame for this whole thing is Joseph's brothers. But why were Joseph's brothers jealous? Well, they were jealous because their daddy liked Joseph better than them. He even gave Joseph a special multicolored dream coat. And Joseph had special dreams where he thought he was better than his brothers. So it's really Jacob's fault for creating all this favoritism. But why would Jacob have a favorite son? Why would he even care? Well, that's because Jacob had a favorite wife. His favorite wife was Rachel, but he had to marry Rachel's sister Leah before he could marry the woman he loved. Why? Because his uncle Laban made him do that. He had to work 7 years and then marry the older sister, who he didn't even like, and then he could marry the younger sister, who he loved. So that's why Jacob favored Joseph. But why was Jacob even on the run? Why was he living with his uncle in the first place? Well, that's because Jacob and his brother Esau had a spat. They were feuding and couldn't hang out together. What's the reason for that? Well, that's because Jacob stole his brother Esau's birthright. Whose idea was that? Well, Jacob's mom, Rebekah. Rebekah told Jacob, hey, go put on a hairy goat skin. Isaac, who's blind and dying, will think you're Esau, the older son, and then you will get the blessing instead of him, because I don't really like Esau that much, said Rebekah. So Jacob started this whole feud, so the descendants of Jacob and Esau have been fighting ever since. But really, if you go back just one more generation, Isaac was already fighting with his brother Ishmael, who's the descendant of a lot of the people on earth today. Why was Isaac upset with Ishmael? Well, not Isaac. Why was Abraham wanting another son? The problem is that Abraham couldn't have any sons. Abraham was married to Sarai, and Sarai was barren. And a barren woman can't have any children, so Sarai suggested, hey, why don't you go have a child with your slave woman Hagar? So Abraham did. He had Ishmael with Hagar, and then through the miracle of God, later Sarai had Isaac. Changed her name to Sarah, and that is where this whole problem started, because Abraham wasn't patient to enjoy his child-free life and wait for a miracle from God if God so choose. So thanks, Abraham. This is all your fault.